I know it can seem like learning tarot is going to take you for absolute ever, but it's really not. I have taught hundreds at this point, hundreds of students how to read tarot cards. And really, the top 5 struggles are really easy, simple problems to solve. So I've got this video, which will show you the top 5 struggles that I hear from my tarot students most often, and giving you tips on how you can approach learning tarot so that you solve these struggles once and for all. Hi, I'm Angie Green from The Simple Tarot, which is your place to come when you're ready to learn how to read the tarot cards in a simple, fun, easy way so that you can then use them as tools for creativity, for self-care, for personal development, or whatever you'd like. We're going to chat really briefly today about the top 5 most common struggles I hear from new students with some tips on how to solve them. But if you want to dive really deeply into learning tarot, check out my next live workshop, which is basically Tarot 101 for absolute tarot beginners. And if you can't make it live or you're watching this way after the date, you can always watch the live replays at learn.thesimpletarot.com. And of course, I'll drop links for you down in the description. But really, let's just dive right now into the top 5 struggles that I hear most often. The first most common struggle, and the one I hear like 80% of the time maybe from almost every student, is that learning the tarot card meanings is so hard. And then remembering them, especially when you're like in the middle of doing a tarot reading, is even harder. So really, this is what The Simple Tarot is all about. So if you are struggling to learn how to read the tarot card meanings, this site, this YouTube channel, everything I create is really to help you learn those card meanings simply, quickly, and easily. It starts with the tarot cheat sheet, which you can get as a free printable PDF right now. Or if you want, you can purchase the copy, physically have it mailed to you anywhere in the world, or get the PDF sent to you as well with the reversed cards on it. Super easy tool, and it helps you cheat and start learning those card meanings right away. Also, the Simple Tarot deck itself has got those card meanings printed right on the cards. Like, what could be easier than that? Also, you could also try making your own cards just like that with a Sharpie and a spare tarot deck. Why not? Cheat your way into learning those card meanings. I also have courses and videos. Everything here at The Simple Tarot is designed to make learning those tarot card meanings easy and quick. Don't try to memorize them. That never works. Really, if you're trying to memorize cards right now, stop that completely. Instead, try a simple daily draw practice. That way, over time, you're going to get exposure to all of the cards slowly, and you're going to put that information directly into your long-term memory instead of trying to cram it into your short-term memory where it's just going to immediately disappear. What you really want is to put tarot into your long-term memory. And so the best way to do that is slowly, methodically, over time, while you're having fun with tarot. Okay, struggle number 2, those pesky court cards. So if you've started learning tarot card meanings and you're starting to feel pretty confident with most of the cards, the ones that are likely to trip you up reading them upright is those 16 court cards, the pages, the knights, the queens, and the kings in your tarot deck. So these 16 cards very often represent actual people in your life, or they could represent a role you play or a message you need to hear. And when you're in the middle of a tarot reading, it's really kind of complicated to think, is this a person? Which person? Wait, is this a message? Is this a role? It's not nearly as complicated as it seems, but at the beginning it is pretty hard, especially since most tarot decks don't have a huge differentiation between the individual court cards, meaning that you're looking at 16 people who kind of all look the same. You don't really see a lot of personality on those court cards that help you tell them apart. However, I've got a really simple system that helps. Like everything else, I've got tools and simple systems to make things easy for you. So my favorite tool for this is the court card map, which is a PDF you can get, or you can just dive into the playlist that talks about all of the individual court cards one by one. So you can learn them more as people and help you see the patterns and the systems that go behind the core cards themselves. That makes it so much easier to read and differentiate, and then put those people on your core card map. So core cards do seem complicated, but they're really not that much of a struggle. And once you master them, oh, you're going to feel so great. So struggle number 3, again, has to do with card meanings. And this is reading those reversed cards. So once you feel confident reading the upright cards, what happens when the tarot card shows upside down during a tarot reading? It feels like you have to memorize, it doesn't work, but memorize or learn 78 more meanings, right? And on top of that, there's like a dozen different ways to read individual reversed cards. So 78 times a dozen is way too many things to memorize or even learn. So reading reverse cards is challenging. First, I want to say you don't actually ever have to read or learn reverse cards. You're going to get plenty out of tarot just by keeping your cards upright. And I know many people, including professional tarot readers, that don't read reverse cards or don't read them very often. So don't feel like this is something you need to tackle right away. It's not really something you need to tackle ever. Only do it when it becomes fun and interesting for you. And right now, my best tool for this is the book by Mary Greer called The Complete Book of Tarot Reversals. Sort of like everybody's Bible to the reversals. It really is a fantastic resource. But again, don't bother reading reversals until you really feel called to do so. They're not necessary. And the best way to read reversals is to add to your tarot readings and make it fun. Noticing a theme here? Okay, struggle number 4, reading more than one card at a time. So I hear about this struggle from my students maybe about as often as I hear they struggle learning those actual card meanings. So when you learn the card meanings, the next step is really to read the cards, right? Well, honestly, you don't need to learn card meanings before you start reading cards. You could dive straight into reading those cards, especially if you're using a cheat sheet or flashcards or the simple tarot deck or something where the meanings are actually right there on the cards or on the cheat sheet. You can dive right away into reading cards. So when people struggle with reading more than one card at a time, what I often find is that they're trying to do too much at once. They dive straight into the 10-card Celtic cross spread because it's the classic or traditional tarot card spread. And it is an awesome spread, but it is awesomely complicated and way too much for a tarot beginner. The best way to start reading more than one card at a time is to get comfortable with one card and then move to 2 cards so that you have a pair of cards and you read them together. And then move on to the 3-card spread. And this is the magic spread that's going to help you find that thread or the narrative arc in a story. So if you're struggling to read more than one card at a time, I highly, highly, highly suggest you practice reading using the 3-card tarot spread. And there are like dozens of different layouts for the 3-card tarot spread. One of the most common layouts is the past, present, future spread. You can also do something about actionable advice about like the cause of the situation, the result of the situation, and now my next action step about the situation. You could do it about a relationship, about him, me, and then us together. So many ways to read the layout when you just have 3 cards. This is one of the reasons it's so absolutely powerful. So a video if you want to start reading the 3-card tarot spread right there. But really, reading more than one card at a time is all about practice. So just get comfortable and start slow. Build up your muscles. And really, once you've gotten the habit or the practice of finding that narrative thread that reads through 3 cards, then you will have the ability to jump from 3 cards to 10 cards on that Celtic cross spread, or 12 cards for the zodiac spread, or any of the card spreads that you find by searching Pinterest, which is kind of my go-to source for finding new spreads. So really, I would say if you're struggling with reading more than one card at a time, start with 2 cards, see if you can find any paired information between the 2, and then really quickly move into reading 3 cards all at once. And again, you don't need to memorize or learn the card meanings. You don't even need to know the card meanings to start reading those 3 cards together. In fact, I would say just jump right into reading 3 cards using that cheat sheet or your flashcards. This one is near and dear to my heart. So the final struggle, number 5, is about trusting your intuition. So this I hear all of the time from students is that they second guess themselves during a tarot reading. Like they kind of know or they think they know, but it doesn't make sense. And now they're not sure. And like they're not confident in their tarot reading abilities. So this is near and dear to my heart because this is really the whole reason that the Simple Tarot exists. Yeah, I'm all about teaching you how to learn tarot cards so that you can use them as tools in your own life for whatever reason you want to use them. But the real reason I teach tarot is so that people like you and me start trusting that inner voice within ourselves, our intuition, and then start using that voice out in the world so we can make the world a better place. Really, that's why I teach tarot. So it's really important to me that I help you and trust your intuition or do the very best I can to teach you my tactics and tricks and tools so that you can get to a place where you trust yourself and you trust your own intuition. So trusting your intuition really is something that it doesn't seem like it can be taught, but there are a few tricks I have for really getting into your intuition and knowing when it's true. The first is using a tarot journal. And this tarot journal needs to be an absolute private place where you can record your thoughts and not ever have to worry about someone else seeing them or thinking about them. So number 1, use a tarot journal. And don't just get the journal, use it. Use it for every single tarot reading you have. And the only reason that the tarot journal becomes such a powerful tool is because you're going to go back to it. So it's not just that you record your tarot readings, it's that you go back and review readings in the past and you see how they play out. So you don't need to journal a lot. I'm not saying spend hours and hours every day on your journal or even every week, really. But 5 minutes doing a daily draw and just doing that as a regular practice will do more to build your tarot understanding of the card meanings and build your intuition because you're seeing what the card means that day. And then you're checking in the next day to see how that card played out. And it's like this feedback loop. And the more you do that, the stronger your confidence and your tarot reading ability increases, but it also helps you trust your intuition and stop second guessing yourself so much. So the second tip or trick or tool I have for trusting your intuition is going to sound weird, but it is insanely effective. So I don't know how to teach this to you, so I will just tell you. In the modern world, most of us spend so much time in our head, like 99.9% of the time we are in our head and we're almost negating our physical bodies. Like we don't like to look at our body. We don't like to touch our body. We don't like to feel the feelings that are in our body. This is one of the reasons that you're having such a hard time trusting your intuition because your intuition lives in your body. Your intuition can't communicate to you through your brain. Your intuition doesn't live in your brain. Your intuition is your wholeness, the completeness of your body and everything in it. So your intuition's only way to communicate with you is through your physical body. Okay, so how do you get in touch with your physical body? First, look at it naked, touch it in whatever way, lotion, oils, love on your body. I know this is hard. It's still hard for me and I do it every day. I just don't like doing it. But the more you get physical with your body, the more comfortable it is. If you're not comfortable doing that, I totally get it. But instead of doing those touching and looking at things, what you really need to do is connect to your body. And so this is sitting in the quiet moments that you have and feeling the feels that your body has. And the feels is the best way I can explain it because, again, it's a body communication. It's not a verbal word intellectual communication thing. So your body has a way of communicating to you. Sit quietly for a minute and feel what your toes feel like. What do your hands feel like? What is your core or your hips? What do they feel right at this moment? If you do this multiple times throughout a day, you're going to get more and more connected to your body. Obviously, this is great to do during meditation. It's great to do during yoga or any quiet exercise where you can really get into your body. What you really want to do is connect to those feelings. So do it during the quiet moments when you're safe and centered. And then once you're comfortable doing that, doing it in the quiet moments when you feel less safe and less centered. So when you're in the midst of an emotional turmoil, when you're upset, when you're angry, when you're fearful, trust yourself that you're going to get through this, but feel those feels. Feel where those physical sensations live in your body while you're feeling them. The more you do this, the more connected you'll be to your body. It is hard to do, and it's really unpleasant. But let me tell you, those negative feelings that you feel, like the fear, the anger, the grief, when they're physically in your body and you really let yourself feel them, they almost never last more than like 90 seconds or 2 minutes. Those deep, crushing feels inside your body. Once they're communicated, you don't need them anymore. Your body doesn't need to keep holding on to them because the body told you what it needed to tell you. So really, it passes through really quickly when you pay attention. It's when you ignore those feelings that they kind of stick around for a long time. So the best way to move through emotions like that is to really feel them in your body. But once you get connected to your body in this way, you're feeling your toes, you're feeling those feels of all emotions, positive and negative and steady and stable and dramatic. Like when you're feeling everything in your body, you're going to be able to feel your intuition so much stronger. It's like it's communicating to you with words. Like it is, your body becomes such a powerful communicator because it knows it's going to be heard because you're paying attention to it. And all of a sudden, your intuition is like on fire. I don't even know how to explain it. It's almost like the intuition itself is a second person. It is so powerful. So really, the best way to trust your intuition, it sounds crazy, but it's really to get into your physical body in any and every way you can and learn to trust your physical sensation and those feels that you have, because one of those feels is your body trying to communicate that intuition. Okay, so a little weird. Or maybe a lot weird, but whatever. It works, and I am all about doing what works. So I hope you're probably going to see yourself in one of those top 5 struggles, but please know you are not alone. Everyone struggles with these things when they're learning to read tarot cards. I still struggle with these things some of the times, especially that intuition thing. Like I try my hardest, but it is hard. So the solution really to all of this is not that sexy. It is effective. And that's what's important. I have been teaching tarot for more than 5 years online. The only thing that I've seen that works is having patience and making sure it's fun. So even that getting into your physical body, feeling the feels and that dramatic scariness of it, that can be fun and pleasurable if you let yourself do it and just enjoy it as much as you can. So my real tip and trick for learning anything, whether it's tarot or anything else, is to have patience, never give up, and make it as fun as possible. I want you to take it slow, explore your cards, and make the process of learning and reading tarot cards as fun for yourself as possible. I don't want you to see you memorizing your cards. That never works. Neither does trying to do everything perfectly. In fact, those two are two of the biggest mistakes I see that people make when learning tarot, and I'd hate to see you making any of those types of mistakes. Struggling is one thing. We all struggle, but these mistakes, if you make them, are really going to hold you back. And I don't want to see you making any of these mistakes. So I put together this next short video about the top 6 mistakes that I see people making when they're learning cards and when they're learning to read the cards. So you can avoid all of them and just focus on reading your cards confidently and getting into your body and enjoying it and having fun. All right, I will see you in that next video.